Hey guys, Jay here. So in this video, I want to share with you guys about my current character. This is the brand recall Soulrend of the Spiral. So the skill, it's what you are seeing on screen here. I am running through a strand. So let's just get through the strand first, and then we're going to talk about the build, right? About the setup. I am going to link the POE in the description as well. So I am going to only explain a couple of core mechanic for the build. Other than that, the stuff that is for life and resistances, I'm just not going to touch it. Disclaimer, by the way, right now my character is pretty expensive. So I do this because I think it is a very funny looking skill, and I just kind of want to make it work and see how it performs. It's pretty good actually. So this is Soulrend of the Spiral with brand recall. How mechanically this interaction is currently working, that is going to result in a shit ton of projectiles that is on the screen here, is thanks to the Saboteur's Perfect Crime Ascendancy. So that allows us to have something called the trigger bots. And the trigger bots double your trigger spell while giving it a less damage multiplier. But how the trigger bots work with multiple layers of triggers is it just double every single time. So right now I am having the automation, the first layer, to trigger, and it triggered double brand recall, then double that double to trigger more of the Arcanist brand to recall the Arcanist brand, and then the Arcanist brand trigger the Soulrend of the Spiral, which got double again. So with a maximum number of 7 brand, every single time that my brand recall, I am going to have a total of 28 instances of spells trigger. In this case is the Soulrend of the Spiral. The Soulrend of the Spiral by itself have 9 projectiles at the moment because I'm using GMP, and then the skill itself just shoot out 5 projectiles by default. So 9 projectiles. And because of the mechanic of this skill, it actually can hit enemies with all the projectiles. So it can actually shotgun. So it is a pretty nice skill to just trigger and then have a bunch of shotgun when the boss stand next to our character. So yeah, what you are seeing here is the result, right? The single target is pretty good, the clear is pretty good. The Soulrend of Spiral is very nice because it also have built-in 100% pierce, so it always hit every single thing on its way and it never stopped. So yeah, we just have a total of 252 projectiles per trigger. And right now, my brand trigger every 1.01 seconds, so it's just basically 1 second. And one more level, I will get this point, which is another 10% cooldown recovery rate for brand recall, which is going to bring this number to, I believe, 0.98 seconds. So roughly every second, we are going to have 28 instances of Soulrend of the Spiral, which is 252 projectiles, which can hit enemy on the way in and on the way out, because we have the return projectile from Nimbus here. So it is going to result in a maximum potential, in theory, of 504 hits per second. That is per second, because this brand trigger basically once every second, brand recall. So it's synergy really well with a couple of things. First of all, it's synergy really well with the gain energy shield per enemy hit. So I can sustain my energy shield very, very easily. The life is going to be covered by a modifier on my ring here, which is gain. This is actually gain up to 15 life per enemy hit with spell. Because of the Crusader modifier on the ring. This is very easy to create actually. It just costs currency for the base. So I am buying the manifold ring for the base for 50% increased prefix modifier magnitude, because I am using the Mage Blood as a lame solution to try and solve the resistances, so I can have more room to play around with for the other pieces of gear. And I am using a lot of unique gear as well, so resistances is a problem, right? If you don't have a Mage Blood, I would have to say you have a lot of life and resist for the belt, and you should also have a ring that is a normal ring, not this base. You should have a normal ring with a lot of life resistances. Try to get the any like Crusader base and use a fossil on it. The fossil is actually I think it is pristine fossil. I don't remember the name exactly because I know I don't use it that frequently, but it is the more life and no defense fossil. Yeah, pristine fossil. That is correct. So we are going to just use a bunch of pristine fossil. As you see, I have a bunch of one that I don't need to use anymore because I hit what I want here. So we are going to gain very easily, like a couple of tries to get decent draw for life and then life gain on hit per spell hit, right? So that is very nice for recovery. Other than that, the build, I'll say the important thing to mention is the Sandstone Visage is very self-explanatory, just give more crit. This one is just very good for power charge stacking. We don't like do heavy power charge stacking, but because we have a lot of power charge, so I think this is a very good baseline item. It is also very cheap. The Void Battery, just get any Void Battery, it will just give you a lot of damage. A rare one is going to just be better. You can get level to spell +2 and then a bunch of crit multi, spell damage. That is just going to be better than this one. But, you know, Void Battery is just very cheap, very easy, very strong. So just use Void Battery, I think. And then the shield is a little bit more interesting. So I'm using Vix Lunaris here. There is a couple of other things that you can do, by the way. So POE Vix Lunaris. This is the shield, right? So it comes with other shields as well. So there's also the Invictus Solaris, which is basically the same shield, but it is the fire version. And then there is the combined version of the two shield, right? So you can do just any. You can do you can have Magma Eclipse here as well. Why do I use these shield? Because they have +2 to level of Socketed Gem. So I think it is a very cheap way to get +2, and then because it is a very, very common and cheap shield, I just get a bunch of them when I corrupt, and I get +1 to level all Socketed Gem. That allow me to get +3 to level all Socketed Gem that I put in here. So Automation, Brand Recall, and Enhance in this case. You can use Empower as well. It is going to be just exactly the same as Enhance. So whichever is cheaper, you can use it. If you want to, you can also put it in a 4-link, but right now I am having all of my other socket like used already, so I decided to go for a 3-link here. And 3-link, probably the best place to put it is in the shield with one of these 3 shield. Invictus Solaris, Magna Eclipse, or Vix Lunaris. So one of 3 shield, just try to get +1. If you don't get a +1, the cooldown is just going to go up to like 1.1 something second, 1.13 second, I do believe. So it's not going to like break the build. It's just going to be stronger if you have the corruption, right? So this is a interesting choice that I want to mention. Another one is going to be the Worm Sign Worm Scale Gauntlet. I am using the Worm Sign Worm Scale along with the Ralakesh Impatient. So this allows me to always sustain my maximum endurance charges all the time, which enable this gloves. So this gloves give me 4% mana cost reduction per endurance charge. So if I have, in this case, 5 endurance charges all the time, it is going to give me a 20% reduced mana cost of skill. This is really, really massive, because if you ever played, with the Brand Recall archetype, you will know that mana is a very, very big problem, or skill cost is a very big problem that we need to solve. So my approach is I reduce the mana cost to actually 0. So in this case, it is just 0 right now, because I am, let me just get here, because in Hideout, I get over the threshold for low life. So it does give me a little bit of life cost because of the Petrified Blood. But as you can see here, I have 0 mana cost. If I remove this ring with -11 to total mana cost, you can see I have 11 mana cost for this one. So right now I'm having a perfectly balanced number of costs here for this build. So how do I get all the mana costs? This of course help a lot, but then I also need to get a lot from the passive skill tree as well. There's another thing that this helmet, that this glove is giving me is it is giving me rampage all the time. I want to mention this tech very quickly because rampage, if you used it with a squirming terror on your mercenary, you will sustain the rampage infinitely all the time because every 2 seconds it is going to reset. So you will always have, when you're mapping, when you reach the end of the map, you will probably have 1,000 stack of rampage, which is going to give you a 50% movement speed boost and then 100% damage as well. So that is something nice for mapping. For my merc, because I bring it up already, so I just quickly show, I simply use a untouched soul setup. So everything here will have like just a bunch of red gems. Everything is full red gem. This thing as well, full red gem, right? So I just have full red gem for every single slot, so it just gives a lot of life for this one. I also am using a comb sign, and I am using a Rakesh patient for endurance charge as well, so make this guy tankier. What this guy do for me is simply basically just the Envy Aura. I think Envy Aura is very good for Soulrend Spiral. Ideally, I would like to have Envy and also Zealotry as well. Right? Right now I even use Broken Crown for a lot of Chaos Resistance for the Merc as well. So I'm trying to cap the resistances to the Merc, except for Chaos, a little bit less, but it has a decent amount of life and ES, so it survived really well. Unless you do something that is really juicy, then maybe, you know, it can die. I don't know. It's not that important that is going to break the build if the Merc is dying, but here is the Merc, right? Anyway, to the skill tree. So the skill tree, I get basically every single point that is going to give me reduced mana cost of skill. So 1, 2 here, this gives reduced mana cost, and also the mastery is 10% mana cost. So that is an additional 25%, right? Then I also have here 4, 3, 3, so another 10, 35 total. Now it is the 41%. Another 9, which brings to 50% reduced mana cost, and then this is 56% mana cost. So 56% total reduced mana cost of skill combined with this 20% is 76% reduced mana cost. So I need to get the rest from somewhere else, and currently the solution is a Militant Faith. So it can have a modifier says 1% reduced mana cost of skill per 10 devotion. So I am using a Militant Faith with Templar Dominus. You just need to get whatever number here. It doesn't matter really. All you need to care about is you need to have a Templar Dominus, and you need to have a reduced mana cost of skill per 10 devotion. So it is 1 divine. Not expensive at all. I don't aim for any particular notable here. I just want the normal one, so it is very cheap. So we are going to gain the rest of the reduced mana cost through the devotion stacking in this area. Of course, with the help of Unnatural Instincts, we have a bunch of extra devotion, and then therefore it just combined to reduce the mana cost of skill into the lowest number possible, and then we have some flat reduced mana cost of skill from a ring here, and it will just reduce everything to 0, right? So at least that is how it currently works, right? All right, let me just turn on the aura again. So right now I would say that in order to have this setup to be a viable build, you either have to go this way, or you will have to go for the Bound by Destiny. Is it? No, it is Whisper. It is the Whisper of Infinity. Bound by Destiny is the jewel. You need to have the Whisper of Infinity amulet, so probably that is going to be another solution for this kind of build, because the mana cost of Soulrend and the Spiral is insane. The base mana cost of this skill is probably the highest in the game if you don't count the like the off skill, like the Corrupting Fever. Mới đừng như thế nữa. Các con cứ thả gốc xuống này. So this is going to be a very high mana cost, and therefore, even if you go for the Whisper of Infinity, you probably still have to spend a lot of ES. For example, this thing, every time it trigger, the brand is going to spend 20% of brand cost, so 20% of the brand of the cost of the skill of the Arcanist brand here, and then also it will spend 100% because it triggered the skill itself. So that is 120% of mana cost times 7 brand. So if it costs, say, 100 energy shield, you are going to need to spend 700 and then 20% plus on that. So almost 1,000 ES per brand trigger. That is every second. So that is going to be a very, very hard thing to sustain if you don't reduce the cost of it. So here is the way that I'm going to deal with it. So anyway, that is roughly what the build is all about. I am doing Soul of Rakali and Soul of Shukari. I don't think it is even the best, but right now, for now, it works, so it works. The Ascendancy, by the way, is Assassin. I am just using the Perfect Crime, Forbidden Flesh and Flame. I think somebody else is playing with this, so I bought it when it wasn't expensive because I always know that I want to play around with this thing. So I just bought a pair very early on where it was like half a divine each. But right now it is going to 13, 14 divine. This is 8 divine. So very, very, very expensive. Adders just keep going up. I think eventually it will go down, but if you want to play this build, you either will go Assassin and get the Perfect Crime Jewels, or you just play as a Saboteur. A Saboteur is not going to have as much damage though, because you don't have a lot of crit multi and a bunch of damage from the Assassin Ascendancy. So, yeah. There is one last thing that I want to mention. That is this overwhelming malice. So either way, I think this is the best way to apply wither to enemies like consistently, because 10% chance to gain unholy might for 4 seconds on crit. I have like 500 crit every second. If there is like a couple of monsters nearby, at least like a couple of hundreds of hit. If there is only one monster nearby or one boss nearby, I still have hundreds of hit every second. So chances are I am going to have this up all the time. And because there are also way too many hits, so with 25% chance to apply Wither, we are going to stack up to 15 Wither like instantly. So always, all the time, it is going to be up. So I think Overwhelming Malice is going to be a very good addition to the build. Right now I am using it with a Megalomaniac. You don't care. Currently I don't care about anything else, so just Megalomaniac here. It is very cheap, right? I just have from the time that I spent farming in Simulacrum, so I randomly have one of this, so I just used it. You can potentially look for something a little bit better. Maybe this thing is basically just 20% chaos damage. I don't care about maximum or mana regen. This thing is completely useless for the build, so yeah, just try to get overwhelming malice. I think the large cluster jewel is probably going to be even better, but because the build, I think it kind of start for point if you go for this setup, because you need to spend a lot of point for reduced mana cost and reduced cost of skill. I also spend a bunch of point to cap block with glancing blow here, so I have to have these for cap block. I need to get some brand stuff. I need to travel a bunch as well. I need to get all the charges. Right now I even have one jewel socket here. I should put a rare jewel in here for as much crit multi as possible, I think. So anyway, that is everything I want to share about this build for now. If there is like a significant update for the build, I will make sure to make an update video on that. But the upcoming video, the next video, is probably going to be about the temple farming, right? So right now I am farming a lot of temples. Is the Alva's temple. Alva has always been one of the things that I always do every league, especially early on, but this time in particular it seems to be very, very expensive at the moment. So the just the locus of corruption here right now is around 2 divine if you sell them in bulk in TFT. I have farmed a bunch of the temple here This is both Doriani Institute and Locus of Corruption. This is just the Doriani Institute. This is like 0.67 divine. This is around 2.5, 2.4 divine. This is 2 divine. So it is very, very profitable. I made this in less than 100 map, and you can run it very quickly. You can even run a white map. You don't need to care about the modifier because it technically does not affect the tempo by like any amount at all. You can run it even in tier 1 map if you want. So I think this is a very good strategy, but it is already popularized by other people. What I want to share is, you know, my thought process on how to create a temple to soul, because historically this thing require a lot of reading, and that is very off-putting for a lot of people. So I want to make like a simple, maybe 3-step to 4-step to just create a temper in a as lazy and brain off style as possible. So that is going to come next. So yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Oh, by the way, a little bit of bonus. I think it's going to be fun. So since we are doing the brand recall, let me just quickly showcase a couple of other skills as well, because I think brand recall looks pretty fun for some other skills. So rolling magma is one of them. I think, yeah, the spark of Nova here is also kind of funny because it is just crazy. Arc is not that great. Let me see. Projectile spell. That is more like it. There can be, okay, let's see bow lightning as well. And winter. I think these 4 spells are kind of interesting if you look at it through the brand recall setup. So first of all, spark. How spark looks like, it actually is kind of crazy. So this is what spark looks like at maximum. I have the light on and you can see the light on my face here. Second, let's do rolling magma. So this is rolling magma with the with the brand recall. Of course, people are probably familiar with this one already. I think Jungron has already played with it, and then also it looks kind of the same as the mine rolling magma setup that I don't remember who played it in League Start. I don't remember name very well. Anyway, this is going to be the Eye of Winter. So this, I think, require a little bit more projectile speed in order for the secondary projectiles to return. But regardless, it is a pretty insane amount of projectiles. So if you have a little bit more projectile speed, they will return, everything will return, and you have an insane amount of shotgun hit from the secondary projectiles as well. So that is another one that you can play with brand recall. And last, this thing, I don't know what to think about this really. So this is pretty unique in the sense that because of because of Arcanist brand, the Arcanist brand actually have a projectile from supporter skill have 4.8 meter maximum range, and I think if you have a lower level Arcanist brand, that number is lower. So potentially you can trap all the like ball lightning here in a very like small area, or if you make the area of effect big enough, it is going to always zap enemies with the maximum amount of zap. I think maybe it's not possible, but that is at least an idea. And I think, by the way, if we go for like the ball lightning or orbiting, probably you are going to create something that looks pretty crazy as well. I don't have the gem ready on me right now, so I cannot show it immediately, but yeah. So yeah, this is the 3rd time already, but thanks for watching and peace.